Hey folks, Craig Danger, vinyl record player. Oh, we are back with 1977. That means underrated. That means must-have LPs. I have 5 of them. Yeah, this series continues. It's becoming a little bit of a Frankenstein monster, to be fair. But you know what? I think we can maybe even take this. I don't know, we're going past 80. There's no way, friends. That's the collection. Not going to support that. But you know what? I think I got 5 close to classics. You may question the underratedness, but again, I appreciate everybody who's been here since 1966 in this series, but you know what? The ride continues. All I ask is that you get in and buckle up. And we're back. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. I'm just going to cut right into 77. I'm going to tell you right away, if you're looking for a bunch of punk rock classics, that's not my sound. It's not really my thing. There are plenty of incredible punk music enthusiasts on the YouTube, and check them out. I unfortunately, not so many in the old collection, but I know something that's a little punk rock. How about my man right here? How about George Thorogood and the Destroyers from 1977. This is some high-speed blues on George Thorogood and the Destroyers' debut LP from 1977 on the, actually this was kind of fun, on the Rounder label. So yeah, anyway, George, obviously, if you've ever heard rock radio, you've heard some of the bigger tunes on this. As an example, you've heard, obviously, One Bourbon, One Scotch, One Beer. Doing a little research into this album for the show, the Craig Danger, the Vinyl Record Player show, and I discovered actually that the One Bourbon, One Scotch, One Beer, 8 minutes and 20 seconds of just magic, friends. Just hard drinking magic. Little story. Whenever the friends and I get together for a couple of pops, we love to put on the One Bourbon, One Scotch, One Beer. Sometimes it's an opener. Sometimes it's a closer when, you've had a pop or 7. Anyway, this One Bourbon, One Scotch, One Beer actually turns out it is not just the John Lee Hooker song of the same title, but is in fact a medley of both that and a song called Home Rent Blues, which was not written by John Lee Hooker, but you know what? Classic. I mean, we're talking 8 minutes of magic right there. A fantastic record. So outside of that, I mean, yeah, this album is pretty much cover to cover excellent. All over this record, you have classics. Not really much in terms of what George would later put together as a solo artist / a band artist. But you know what? Madison Blues, great version of that one. Also a great version for those enthusiasts of that song. Great version by Fleetwood Mac, actually, on, I believe, the LP Before the Beginning, which is really good, but this version just stomps. You've got Kind-Hearted Woman, and you know what? That's the thing. These are all sort of blues standards. But yeah, like I say, this one is, it's fun from cover to cover. If you like the blues, you probably, I don't know, if you're a big blues aficionado, this is something you might be like, oh, I don't know, that's, because it's really fast-paced. It's all stomp and boogie. This is not really a groove record as much as it's just, it's erratic. It's, you're at a roadhouse somewhere in Tupelo, Mississippi, and my friend George Thorogood and his formerly Delaware Destroyers, actually, but now just the Destroyers, they are blowing the roof off of the place. And you know what? This is just a fun old record. But, I mean, obviously the centerpiece being One Bourbon, One Scotch, One Beer. What a legendary song. I could listen to that 1,000 times in a row, particularly if I was drinking one bourbon, one scotch, and one beer. To be fair, the Danger does not have that kind of alcohol tolerance, so let's just say maybe I've listened to it 3 times, maybe 2, depending on the night, let's be real. But again, on the Rounder label from 77, the debut of George Thorogood and the Destroyers. Of course, he would go on to make about 20 albums after this, but this one is it underrated? Maybe it isn't. But you know what? It's a fantastic record. And if you haven't heard it in a while, you should hear it. And nobody talks about this record. They should. I think it's probably the best of his really sort of classic work. And I believe he's still kicking, although apparently he just canceled a recent tour again pretty much everyone on the Danger Channel is getting a little bit old. So whatever the case, if you can't see them live, you should definitely pick up George Thorogood and the Destroyers from 1977. An underrated, I would say, at least underrated by blues purists anyway. And definitely a must-have. George Thorogood and the Destroyers. And just wanted to say to everybody, thank you again for liking and subscribing. Makes a monster difference. What a difference between the videos where people like and then they don't. Nobody sees the ones that people don't like. So if you could like and subscribe for me, that would be an amazing favor. And again, you know what I would also say? If you have any underrated must-have classics from 77, put them in the comments. I always love to hear about albums, particularly that I don't know about, but even ones that I do, we always get some good discussion from a lot of the viewers of Craig Danger, the vinyl record player, and obviously that's always part of the joy of this kind of programming. So again, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Number 2, this one is fun. This one is really fun, friends. We're talking about the Average White Band with Benny King is it an unlikely collaboration? I don't know. Why not? Apparently the story behind this one is the Average White Band, a bunch of very white Scotsmen, as a matter. You might know them from such earlier classics as Cut the Cake, etc., etc. They did a lot of really cool, sort of funky albums in the 70s. I don't have a lot of their material, but I got this one. And why is that? How about my man Benny? Oh, and this album, of course, is called Benny and Us. And the story behind this one is the band is in Miami on vacation, and they happen to hook up with the one Benny King, who's working on a new album. They're talking, they're jamming, everything's cool, and they're like, hey, let's do an album together. And you know what? This is all very, very fun music. Again, this is 77, so around this point, a lot of your older school soul stars are heading down that disco rail line, and ooh, that's a bad steaming train to nowhere. So Benny is like, well, hey, these guys are funky. And you know what? This is not a disco record, which you can't say that about every soul record from 77. And you know what? Average White Band, if you heard any of their records, these guys are amazing musicians. Funkiest white men from Scotland that ever existed. I'm just going to go ahead and call that. Really good ones on this one, like Fool for You Anyway. A Star in the Ghetto was the big hit on this one. Ben is a quality voice, and again, he's got a full funk band sort of backing him. And they don't do like, it's not hard funk, it's not Parliament funk. It's really sort of accessible stuff. Of course, Give It Up for Love. I mean, hey, are you giving it up for love? If you aren't, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Says Benny and the White Band. As you can see on the back, pretty awesome photo there. This, of course, would be, this actually did chart and sold quite a few copies, but a lot of people are sort of throw shade on this record because there's not as many sort of original tunes. This is a lot of covers. What is Soul, of course, Benny originally released in 67, was one of his last sort of big hits on Atlantic before even 75. But you know what? No, it's a fantastic record. And I love the way that they kind of accompany each other, and great backing vocals from the Average Whites. Yes, I guess I just called them that. So anyway, it's a super fun record. Funky, not disco, and like I say, Ben is a really high quality voice. These guys should have toured this record, to be honest. That just would have been, I imagine, just an incredible show. They did not. They made a couple of appearances here and there, probably, on your, I don't know, maybe on the bandstand, maybe on Soul Train. But the fact is they never toured this, and that is a crying shame. They never really collaborated again either, which is unfortunate. This record, of course, would be the last one that Benny had a real significant hit on, as long as he was with the Atlantic label, at any rate. So, Benny King and the Average White Band, but Benny and Us. This one is highly available. If you can see there, pick this dog up for a cool $2. That's right, friends. It's cheap. It's out there and it's cheap. And you know what? It sounds great. This is a really fun record and good party record. Probably slap this dog on, walk away. Impromptu dancing just everywhere. Just people. What's Grandma doing? What are you doing over there, Grandma? She's dancing. It's Benny and average white band. At any rate, yeah, another, in my opinion, underrated, but I think that this one is a must-have just for the element of fun. The only downside on this one is a cover of Imagine by John Lennon. I've heard better, but still Benny, still delivering. Sounds fantastic all over this record. So yeah, from 77, another must-have, underrated classic, Benny and Us. Ooh, you gotta pick this one up. And, okay, this one, it might be a struggle. Those who know will be like, Craig Danger, what are you talking about with this underrated business? I know. Is it Jackson Browne's Running on Empty, the 7 times platinum LP? How underrated is that, Craig? Well, I'm looking for angles of underration. That's not a word, but that's okay. And Running on Empty, kind of an odd concept behind the album. It basically is partly live. They recorded a song at the Holiday Inn. There's stuff they recorded on their bus. This album is very much, the theme is touring and obviously Running on Empty. If you've ever heard FM rock radio, you've heard that song probably about 5,000 times. Still, what a classic. It reminds me of my dad. He's like, in 65 I was 17, and it's like, oh, that's my dad. That's it. My dad, I'm not gonna say my dad looks exactly like the Brown, but he had his day. And I'm not saying they couldn't have been brothers. Is all I'm saying. But yeah, you know what? Here is why this is underrated. This apparently amongst Jackson Browne fans, not a big fan of this LP. Apparently this is Jackson Browne light. Yeah. Well, here's the difference between those people and Craig Danger. Craig Danger is not a fan of Jackson Browne. It is what it is. You like him, you don't. I like it, Take It Easy by the Eagles. But overall, I've tried listening to his stuff a bunch of times. I haven't really felt it. Listen to this one. Ooh, I like this. This is very good. A lot of sort of live they sound incredible for all pretty much live cuts. And yeah, really good. Nice little photo of the man himself on the back. Sure, is it super underrated? No. But if you look at some of the reviews, people are like, well, this is kind of lighter Jackson Browne. But you know what? I think I like that. I'm a fan. A little bit of a focus for Jackson Browne on this one. On the old cocaine. Apparently, well, it's about touring. It's 1977. Probably a lot of this was recorded in 76. I'm not saying that there was cocaine around, but yeah, there was, clearly. But anyway, a lot of talk of cocaine on this, so if the kids are around, maybe track 3 or 4, you might want to lower the volume on that, big dog. But otherwise, yeah, no, it's actually a fun record. Great ballads on this one, but obviously, your key track is going to be the title track, Running on Empty, and this is all basically written by him and or sort of his sideman, but good harmonies on this record as well. Again, it was a surprise for me because I've never been a big Jackson Browne fan. I got a few running jokes with my friends about it. But the fact is that, yeah, no, this one's a good one. This is the one you want to pick. Let me just say, this is the Craig Danger approved entry point into Jackson Browne. You can go from there. And Lord knows, the brother has a lot of albums. So again, Running on Empty, 1977. Is it underrated? That's a stretch. It's a stretch, Danger. But you know what? I'm going to say it's a must-have. At least as an entry point into Jackson Browne, Running on Empty, 77. And I know. Is this one even underrated? No, but it's good. It's good. Can we go with good and must-have and underrated? But there's got to be some dude out there who's like, "Go for Your Guns" by the Isley Brothers. It's terrible, man. It's a terrible. That person is a fool. First off, I don't know what he's doing. But wow, this one, I think this is probably one of their last super classics of the 1970s. I'm of course a fan of the early ones, like Your Brother, Brother, Brother. There's another couple of them, 3+3, that are really excellent. But this one, I think, in terms of their funk period, at this point they've kind of shed the sort of rock and roll covers that they were doing. They're still on the T-Neck label. They've become sort of funk masters. This one, actually one of the first LPs they've done in a bit that doesn't have them in incredible spandex outfits of all shades and hues. A lot of leather, a lot of spangles, a lot of sparkles. So hey, they decided, you know what, let's lay up. And actually, you know what, you take a close look at these guys. You think there's no sequence in there? Wrong. there's sequins. There's definite sequence. But, and of course on the back, looking good, Isleys, looking good. At any rate, yeah, this one of course has a lot of real classics. A little bit of a move towards ballads. I mean, you got the Pride kind of beginning it, very sort of a deeper funk track. But then you got Footsteps in the Dark, parts 1 and 2. Never released as a single. I think it's one of their best songs. Actually, it was sampled by Ice Cube for It Was a Good Day, I believe the song's called. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll put it on the old screen. But you know what? Wow. Cover to cover, this is really, really good. You got Climbing Up the Ladder, Living Your Life, the title track. Like I say, bit of a turn towards ballads, but here's the thing. Wow, funky ballads. Funky ballads. Shocking to me. I'm not a ballad guy by any means. The Danger likes it fast and rhythmic. We still talking about music here? Yes, we are. And but you know what? In terms of ballads, wow. The Isley Brothers just sounding so good and so funky. And yeah, like I say, one of their best final records of the 70s. In my opinion, and yeah, I know it sold a ton of copies. In fact, I think it was one of their best-selling. But who talks about this record now? And you know what? They should. This is one smooth and fantastic record. I just actually saw these guys last year, 2023, at the old LA County Fair. And you know what? There's only 2 of these brothers left. But wow, they were fantastic. Just ripped it in half. Ronald sounds fantastic. Ernie's still a ripping. What a guitarist. Obviously very heavily influenced by a former sideman of the Isley Brothers, which of course was who? How about Jimi Hendrix, as a matter of fact. So yeah, this is kind of a cover-to-cover classics. If you're not a big funk fan, you might be like, I don't know, but I would, if you're there with the lady, Footsteps in the Dark, come on. She will be happy, and as a result, usually, you might be happy too. So Isley Brothers, Go For Your Guns from 1977. An underrated, maybe not. I'm that strong on this one. But hey, Danger's running out of records. He's running out. But I'm going to go ahead and say that, yeah, no, this is a must-have. This is one of the first Isley Brother records that I had, and really glad to have picked it up quite a while ago. But yeah, on the T-Neck label, Isley Brothers, Go For Your Guns from 77. And, we're going to end off, hey, are there more soul records than rock records this time? Damn right there is. Because you know what, at this point, as I've said on previous shows, 76, 75, once you hit that 75 point, we start to get soul music starts to deteriorate pretty hard. And, yeah, everything goes disco. Not here with the Royce 2 in full bloom, though. Oh, the Whitfield is back. Norman Whitfield, of course. Legendary Motown producer, originally obviously producing Edwin Starr. Obviously The Temptations was where he made his real money with, your classic Psychedelic Shack, Cloud 9, a lot of those, Papa Was a Rolling Stone, the 13-minute verge. Anyway, what happens to almost every artist or producer on Motown? Well, they work there for a bit and then they realize, oh my God, Motown's making so much money and I'm making nothing. So what do? They leave. And that's exactly what happened with Royce. But actually it was Whitfield who brought them with him to his newly minted Whitfield Records. And basically the members of Royce had been kind of a backing band for Edwin Starr. They'd been a backing band for Motown legend Yvonne Fair. A little bit of background, I think, for either the Four Tops or for Temptations. And he just basically turned them into a band. And wow, really good stuff. They are a funk band, but it's not heavy funk. In fact, I think it's probably the lead singer, who her nickname is Rose. But you may also know this band from, of course, the soundtrack for Car Wash, which was a giant hit. And wow, huge, sold 1 billion copies. Well, not 1 billion, but at least a couple million. Was a huge hit for that particular movie. But then they followed it up with this one, even better of an album, in my opinion. A lot of classics on this one. Ooh Boy was on this one, of course sampled later by rappers, but also Do Your Dance, another single from this album. This album is good, basically cover to cover, but you want to be looking for that opening track, Wish Upon a Star, which was not a hit in North America and Canada, but went to number 3 in the United Kingdom, and wow, you can see why. The lead singer, has just sort of this incredible sort of softest voice at times, which means we're not talking about an Ohio Players kind of funk. We're talking more, or Not a Parliament kind of a funk. We're talking more of a Rufus style funk. Although she ain't no Chaka Khan either. She's not wild with the gospel screaming. But you know what? It's a really great sound. I hesitate to say pop funk. That sounds terrible. But you know what? This is a really, really fun record. And I'm going to say a cover-to-cover classic. Obviously, it's not... we got a gatefold, friends. Gatefold alert right here. Look at that. Oh, there we go. There we go. We got some winners here. Yeah. Obviously, tons of... of course, we of course have Rose Norwalt right here. She kind of brings the magical sugar that are the vocals on Rose Royce in Full Bloom. But this one, by the way, this one is super available. You can pick this one up. This one sold pretty decently. I think it was a number 10 album in the United States. And you can pick it up almost anywhere. I'm sure I picked this up for under $5. Really good record though, and again, it's not disco. There's elements there, certainly, but this is more of a funk record. But again, it's not hard funk either. It's distinctively Whitfieldian, dare I say it. Of course, Norman Whitfield producing this one and writing a few of the tracks on this one. What can I say? 1977, in Full Bloom, Rose Royce 2, not Electric Boogaloo. And you know what? We went through all of 1977. We didn't even mention a punk record. There are going to be people who are going to be very angry about that, but hey, I don't have the records, friends. I just don't have them. But you know what? I very much appreciate that you showed up and you've been watching. Don't forget to check out 76 down to 66. Heck, I'll put the playlist in the comments. Check it out. And yeah, like I say, I started at 66, so there's quite a few of these videos, friends. If you got 250 minutes to spare, boom, I know what you should do. Craig Danger, vinyl record player, underrated must-have LPs. Quite a few of them going on. But at any rate, friends, thanks for kicking around and sticking around, and appreciate you always. And you know what? I guess I'm just going to have to see you on the next one.